just to play games. And I'm not just talking about like tag or whatever else. No, I'm talking about video games. A place that you go to play video games. It was called an arcade. And what would happen is, you'd be like, oh, I get to go to an arcade today. I need quarters, because when you went to the arcade, the way you played is you had to have quarters. And quarters are what you put into the machines. And every time you put a quarter into a machine, you got to play a game. Okay? And if you were really good, you didn't need a lot of quarters. Because you put a quarter in, and depending on what game you last and how good you were, you might be on there a while. So you didn't need very much money. Your money went very far. But if you were just kind of starting out or playing like a lot of new stuff, you might need a lot of quarters. Right? But that's literally what you did. So if you wanted to, have a good time, you go with your friends, you go to an arcade, and you play at the arcade. Now, the games were very similar to what you've played before. So they had pinball machines, they had arcade cabinets, they had Donkey Kong, Double Dragon.
What is Double Dragon?
Alien. Double Dragon was a cool game I liked, because what it was a game where you move through in levels, and it's like a fighting game. So you have, I think they were like the Dragon Brothers, and what they could do is they were martial artists. So you're literally going through stage to stage, and people are trying to come to beat you up, and you punch, and you kick, and you do combos, and, you're trying to beat up as many people as you can to get to a final boss, and then you got to figure out, like, what you actually had to do in order to beat that final boss. And that was one of my favorite games, because I just like the idea, you got to use the martial arts and everything. And they made a lot of variations of that, but that's what kind of one of the arcade games was. Tekken that you play upstairs, that's an arcade game. Like, you could literally go to arcade and play other folks that play Tekken, except you're on like a big stage. So that's what an arcade represented. For video games, it was like your localized idea of like a big screen, where you could go and everyone that was kind of in the neighborhood or anything like that, you could go and you could play. Same thing with pinball, same thing with any of the games. But these arcades, they might have like 50 different games when you go in there. So like 50 arcade machines that were like devoted to particular games. And I think you would have like a blast there. So for the fact that you haven't been in that environment yet, we definitely have to look to see what places are still around, because they're not as plentiful as they used to be. But you could spend days in places like that, just having a blast. And then depending on who actually showed up, you could actually compete against other folks, see how good they were, see how good you were. So when I think the best, cheapest, and especially with the coin, I'm almost thinking that kind of tied to and associated with the game, because it seems like that's what we're playing. And maybe the stage we actually need to have, since you actually enjoy playing games so much, is treating the best, cheapest like the game of life. If you're going to play a game, you might as well win. You might as well play to win.